Hey guys, Adam here with AmericanMuscle.com, and today we're taking a closer look at and installing the Morimoto XB LED projector headlights with the black housing and clear lens, available for the 2018 and newer GT and EcoBoost Mustang. You should be checking these out if you're looking for one of the most premium, unique headlight options in the category without spending money on factory replacements. Now, these are specific to the 18 and newer Mustangs with the more jagged or angular headlights. These use a completely upgraded technology, going from the factory HIDs to an LED that's a lot brighter, more attractive, and a whole lot more modern than the factory lights. Now, before I get into it, I know the factory headlights on the 18 and newer Mustangs are pretty modern to begin with. They have the very angular, iconic tri-bar design. They've got a really bright, really attractive HID. But LEDs are typically known to be the more premium or more luxury type of technology compared to HIDs, and that's showing straight through here with this Morimoto. Morimoto is known to make some of the more premium options in the category, and that reflects on the price tag, which I'll get to in just a minute. Now, this one here uses a black housing on the interior, somewhat of a gloss black, with a clear polycarbonate UV resistant lens, so it's not going to fade over time or crack. It's something that will hold its quality over time, no matter how many miles you put on your Mustang. Some of the older generation Mustangs typically get a little bit yellowed, cracked, and faded over time. This is a more high quality lens that should hold its value and hold its quality. Now, as you can see, this uses a styling very similar, reminiscent to some of the newer Charger headlights, with the LED DRL that wraps around there with an angular finish at the corner, but it's gonna add the iconic Mustang styling to the inner corner with the tri-bar. Now, unlike your new 18 Plus angular tri-bars, these are more flat, straight designs. They're a little bit more recessed in. Same with the projector light, more recessed into the housing there. So it's not as in your face when the lights are off, but when they're on, they're very noticeable and extremely bright. Now, that being a DRL or daytime running light is gonna add an extra accent light that your factory lights didn't have. Factory lights just use the daytime running light in your tri-bars. This has that wraparound one, like I said. Now, that is actually gonna operate completely independent from the headlights themselves. When your headlights are off, that running light will still operate and be on. So if you're a fan of really bright, attractive running light bars, and you're not really satisfied with the way the factory light attacks that, this is gonna be a great replacement for that. It adds more design when the headlights are off for daytime running. Inside, I mentioned the recessed projector. Now, that is an extremely high quality, very advanced state-of-the-art technology from Morimoto. It's what sets it apart from the rest. They use a Curia bi-optic LED. It's something that has a 5000K color temp, so a pure white light, 2600 lumens, so it's extremely bright. It's just something that has a little bit more style and character than your factory ones, and I'll talk about the specific details closer, comparing it to stock in just a little bit. It's also got the amber light on the bottom there, of course, and the headlights obviously don't have turn signals built in because your turn signal's underneath in the bumper with the new Mustangs. Now, the price tag for this comes in at right around $1,300. Again, more expensive than most aftermarket options because Morimoto is one of the top high quality brands in the category. Keep in mind, factory direct replacements with the HID ballasts are pretty expensive, so if you're not looking to spend money on just a basic OEM look, you can spend the money instead on an upgrade that has a super unique front end styling. So with that install, I'm giving 2 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter, only because the front bumper has to come off. There's no cutting, there's no drilling, there's no splicing. It is direct plug and play, but anytime body panels come off, it just extends the install time and bumps up the difficulty just a little bit. If you don't have any experience, I'll walk you through every step of the process. You can absolutely do this at home in the driveway with very simple hand tools. I'll walk you through it. It's gonna take you about 2 hours from start to finish. What do you say we get started? Tools used in the install include an impact gun, a ratchet, a couple of extensions, 5.5mm short socket, 7, 8, 10, and 13 deep sockets, and a panel removal tool. Now, unfortunately, in order to do headlights, your front bumper does have to come off. So the first step is to pop your hood, and we're gonna remove our top radiator shroud to access a couple of the bumper bolts connecting it at the top end. Grab a panel removal tool. Let's remove the plastic clips all around the radiator shroud. All right, now in order to do this, you're just gonna lift up on that top portion there, and then go up underneath of it and pull it out in one piece. Repeat that for all of them. All right, now we can lift the shroud up in one piece and set it aside. Next, you have several 8mm bolts all the way across, and then we have 5.5mm in each of the corners. Let's do the 8mm first. Now I know it's a weird size, 5.5 millimeter, but get these guys off in the corners. At this point, we have our Mustang on a lift. Now, if you're working in the driveway at home, you might want to jack it up just to get a little bit more room. There's a bunch of 7 millimeter bolts holding on the factory belly pan. If you don't have a belly pan, you can skip over this step, but ours does. We got to get out of the way. 7 millimeter bolts are all across the front, 2 in the middle, 2 in the back corners, and then 2 on the sides where the lip connects. So let's get those off. There's a couple of panel clips we have to remove here, 1 underneath and 3 in the wheel well on our driver's side, and then we'll just repeat on the other side. All right, this is free, so we can drop it down. All right, now we can drop the belly pan down and set it aside. All right, while we're here, let's reach up and disconnect our fog light harness. There are 2 bolts connecting the front bumper to the fender here. They're facing upward and the nuts are on top. Grab your 10 millimeter socket, peel back this liner. It does help to turn the wheel. And you're gonna go right here. There's one a little bit closer to the front, one toward the headlight itself. We're gonna get those off with our 10 deep socket. All right, once you break them loose, you can typically get it off by hand. All right, there's one. Go a little bit farther back and get the second. Okay, repeat that on the other side along with disconnecting the fog light. All right, at this point, the bumper can come off. In order to do that, we're gonna just lift up on the top end so it unclips. Make sure your wheel wells are free. Pull it straight back and set it aside. Next, we can get our headlight out now that we have access to the bolts here. There's one up top, there's 10 millimeter. Let's get that off and then we'll go underneath. All right, next we have a 10 millimeter in the bottom inner corner. Now in the outer corner close to the wheel well liner, there's a 13 millimeter bolt. Let's get that off and then the headlight's free, so be there to support it. Headlight can pull out now. You can pinch and disconnect that harness. All right, set your factory light aside. All right, so we got our factory headlight off of the driver's side of our 18 Eco behind me, and it's on the table next to our Morimoto headlight. Now this is gonna have the LED upgrades. I wanna give you guys a comparison between this and your factory HID headlights. Now obviously your factory HIDs do use a projector style lens, but it's not as modern and unique as the new Morimotos here. The Morimotos use what they claim to be a hybrid parabolic and rectangular projector lens, which is just a fancy way of saying it is an upgraded projector meant to really optimize the projector's capability to give you a brighter, more efficient light output. This uses the Curia Optics LEDs that have a 5000K color temperature, so it's a pure white light, and it's also using 2600 lumens of light output. So it's really bright, it's a pure white light, a lot more attractive than your factory one, which by the way did do a really good job of lighting up the road, but if you're looking for a brighter LED, something that's got a farther light output with a wider pattern, this is a great way to go. Now, aside from that, design-wise, it's a huge difference. Your factory headlight on the 18 and newer Mustangs have the more more angular tri-bar design. This uses a straight tri-bar design, not angular like the 18 and newer Mustangs, and the tri-bars are deeper into the housing. They're not as protruding out, they're not as farther toward the corner, they're a little bit more in. They're also a lot smaller than your factory tri-bars. Either way, they are very modern in terms of appearance, just more similar to the 15 to 17 straight tri-bars as opposed to the angular version. This is also going to use a DRL or daytime light bar across the top and around the side there. It's very similar to some more Charger style front end looks, but it does maintain the tri-bar Mustang iconic look, so it's not fully in the way of the Charger design. Something that just spices it up and differentiates your Mustang from others in the road by adding more daytime running light to it, and that'll of course operate with your DRL harness already built in. The nice thing about this also is that it's plug and play. This guy has the wiring harness on the back that plugs in right to the factory one, so this whole operation will work in conjunction with all of your factory hardware. Finally, another big difference. This new option here has a gloss black interior housing with a clear lens. Your factory one does have some black accents on the inside, but it has a lot more chrome than your newer option, so that's going to definitely make a difference to add some more stealth to the front end. With that said, we're going to install this using all the factory hardware, and since it's plug and play, we're just going to plug it right in. All right, so we got our new headlight here. We're going to install it on our driver's side. First thing you want to do is connect the plug and play connector to your factory harness and then mount it up. And grab your factory 10mm bolts, put them back through the top and the bottom inner corner, and then the 13 on the other side. All right, and then go back and tighten these guys down. All right, now we can put the 13 back in the corner. At this point, you want to just repeat this for the other side, and then we can reinstall our bumper. All right, at this point, we can lift our bumper back into place once we have our other headlight installed. Just want to make sure it drops into place up top first. There are small retainer pins that hold it in place, and now we can connect our wheel wells. All right, from here, you want to make sure both of those studs go back in and connect to the fender, and that it's connected properly underneath the headlight. Now we can head in the wheel well and tighten those down. Now we're back up in the wheel well liner. We're back up in the wheel well on our passenger side. Remember, there's two studs that go through here. Grab those factory 10mm, thread them through by hand, and then tighten them down. Perfect, repeat that on the other side. All right, with our Mustang back up in the air, we're gonna plug in our fog lights. Remember to do this on both sides. Just pull the harness back up, snap it into place. Repeat that on the other side. All right, next part is a little bit tricky. You wanna put your belly pan back in place. You wanna make sure it's fitted underneath of the factory chin spoiler. So it's gonna take a little bit of finesse. I'm gonna bolt it down at the back first. Back here, using those factory 7mm. All right, with that holding it in place, we can work our way all the way around, putting all the bolts back through. All right, we can start in this corner here and work our way around. Now we're back in this corner to reconnect the mud flap, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. All right, now we have one more here on each side under the mud flap. Next, we can put all of our push pin clips back. All right, we've got one more here on our wheel well liner. Repeat that on the other side. With the vehicle back on the ground, you can put the 8mm bolts back in under the hood. Just remember, you want to be gentle on them, don't over tighten it so you crack the plastic. All right, next put the 5.5mm bolts back in each corner. Last but not least, let's drop our radiator shroud back in place and put those factory push pin clips back in, and you'll be finished. With that last one in, you're good to go. That's going to wrap up my review and install for the Morimoto XB LED projector headlights with the black housing and clear lens for the 18 and newer GT and EcoBoost Mustang. Get yours right here at AmericanMuscle.com.